The Life and Sad Ending of Jim Perry. Jim Perry, born James Edward Dooley, was born on November 9th, 1933 in Camden, New Jersey. His mother, Genevieve Perry, was a record-holding swimmer as well as a known marathon dancer. His father, Edward Dooley, was a musician. While briefly attending Amador Valley High School in Pleasanton, California, Perry was an outstanding basketball player, thanks in part to his height. At 6 feet 4 inches, he graduated in 1952. He was often nicknamed Big Jim because of his height. Perry started out as a singer in special services after college at Penn, working on Armed Forces radio during the Korean War. After the service, he worked for a short time at General Electric and then replaced Eddie Fisher as the staff vocalist at Grossinger's in the Catskill Mountains, and later did comedy working with Sid Caesar as a straight man for several years. Perry appeared in 3 syndicated specials with Caesar, titled As Caesar Sees It, which aired during the 1962-63 season. These were under his birth name of Jim Dooley. Due to a name conflict with AFTRA, he adopted his mother's maiden name of Perry shortly after beginning his television work. His first appearance as a TV host came in Canada with the popular game show Fractured Phrases, 1965. Afterward, he presided over several other game shows, including I Bet and The Moneymakers, aka Bingo at Home. The latter also airing on syndicated television in some U.S. markets for 13 weeks in 1969. Although Perry was American by birth, he and his family immigrated to Canada in the early 1970s and moved back to the U.S. in the late 1970s when he was hired to host Card Sharks. Perry also served as an announcer for that show, starring Joan Rivers, a short-lived 2-month series that aired in 1969 on syndicated television. He also appeared in a few television commercials, including one for Morton Salt. From 1969 to 1972, he was a weekend overnight DJ at WABC Radio in New York City. In 1974, Perry became the announcer of the CTV television network game show Definition, a hangman-based pre-Wheel of Fortune series which would become the longest-running game show in Canadian television history. After a few weeks of announcing the show, Perry moved from the announcer position to hosting, replacing original host Bob McLean, and remained there until the show ended its run in 1989. Perry hosted another long-running weekly nighttime game show, Headline Hunters, which lasted from 1972 until 1983. Perry presided as MC of the annual Miss Canada pageant, a job he held from 1967 until 1990, about the same length of time his U.S. counterpart Bob Barker presided over the Miss USA pageant on CBS. Like Bert Parks in the United States, Perry, a talented singer, would sing the pageant's closing song, The Fairest Girl in Canada, soon after the new Miss Canada was crowned. Perry's first major American network hosting tenure came in 1967, with a short-lived charades-type game called It's Your Move. The series was produced in Canada for syndication in the United States. Another game show also produced in Canada for syndicated TV in the U.S., The Moneymakers, a game based on bingo, aired in 1969. Originally titled Bingo at Home, in which contestants and home viewers had a chance to win money, albeit less than $100 at a time. And in some years, his co-host was Dominique Dufour, Miss Canada 1981. His biggest break in the United States came in 1978 when NBC and Mark Goodson Bill Todman Productions cast him for their new show Card Sharks. Perry hosted the entire NBC version and the 2 pilots that preceded the series, airing from April 24th, 1978 until October 23rd, 1981. This series helped Perry begin a long association with NBC, lasting more than a decade. Perry was twice considered as a host for the daytime and the nighttime revival of Card Sharks in 1986, but due to his commitments with NBC and CTV, the daytime version aired on CBS and was given to Bob Eubanks, and the nighttime version was hosted by Bill Rafferty. In 1982, NBC named Perry host of Sale of the Century, a revived version of the 1969 to 1973 series, airing from January 3, 1983 until March 24, 1989. For more than 6 seasons, he presided over the fast-paced Q&A game. Starting in January 1985, he added a 3rd hosting gig to his resume, taking the reins of a nightly syndicated Sale of the Century that ran until September 1986. His style and sensational salesmanship helped to make the show a big hit for the network in the last golden era of game shows, and made Perry one of the top game show personalities of the 1980s in the United States. Not forgetting the time he spent with Sid Caesar, Perry would often tell jokes related to some of the questions asked on Sale. During his tenure at NBC, Perry appeared in the made-for-TV movie The Great American Traffic Jam, 1980, along with fellow game show hosts Wink Martindale, Jack Clark, and Art James. Perry hosted approximately 10 different game shows, including Unsold Pilots, in a career that spanned about 25 years. He was also involved in charitable causes, both in Southern California and Canada, and was a regular host of the annual Telemiracle Telethon in Saskatchewan for many years in support of the Kinsmen clubs in that province. Perry retired in 1990. In later years, he authored 2 self-awareness books titled The Sleeper Awakes, A Journey to Self-Awareness, 1991, and There's Gotta Be a Pony, Considerations on a Journey of Mastery, 2012. In his personal life, Jim met his wife, June, during his time at Grossinger's. She later became a top model with the Eileen Ford Agency. They married on June 29, 1959, and have 2 children, Aaron Perry and Sean Perry. They remained together until his death. In 2010, Perry was diagnosed with cancer. Sadly, he died from the disease on November 20th, 2015, less than 2 weeks after his 82nd birthday. He was cremated.